Hi, this is a review of the Razorweld 205 multi-process welder. It does MIG, TIG and stick. I was looking for a replacement for my old stick welder, which I had real difficulty in mastering. So this is intended for high quality home workshop use. This particular welder is designed in New Zealand and made in China. This welder will supply up to 200 amps and includes the normal sort of specifications for a modern welder. It's single phase, it includes a synergic mode for MIG welding. I primarily bought it for MIG welding. I didn't need the synergic mode, but the welder with synergic mode was the same price as one without. I've got no intention of ever using TIG welding, but I do plan on using MIG stick welding on occasion. So I was looking for a welder with good value for money and also reasonable quality, and this is what I came up with. This welder is made by JASIC, and when I first saw it I thought it was just a rebranded JASIC welder that a local supplier had painted in black and sold as their own. But with a bit more research I found out that it was in fact designed in New Zealand and manufactured by JASIC, and some of the JASIC welders are also designed in New Zealand and of course manufactured and badged as JASIC. This is a New Zealand design welder badged as Razorweld and assembled by JASIC. You're probably wondering how I figured out whether this was just a piece of crap Chinese welder or something better. And one of the features of this welder is that it complies to a standard, a welding standard, which is the Australian and IEC standard 60974. Now this standard covers a whole range of things about how welders should be designed and manufactured. So it includes things on protection against electric shock, thermal requirements, abnormal operation, thermal protection, connection to the input supply, how the rated supply and duty cycles to be measured, hazard reducing devices, mechanical requirements, what's on the rating place, adjustment to the outputs, instrumentation, etc., etc. So there's a whole raft of stuff in that standard. So this welder complies with that standard, and that's really helpful if you're trying to evaluate the quality of a welder, knowing that it complies to an international standard. But the other thing I did is I rang up a number of local welding repair shops and asked for their opinion on welders, and this one came out with some positive feedback. So that was the basis of how I determined that this was not just a piece of crud Chinese rubbish that you get on eBay or other places, that it was in fact a reasonable quality welder at a reasonable price. The other key factor is that this welder has good local support from the local engineering shop, and that was important for me. So what's in the box? Well, for a start there's a hose, nothing special about that. The set of gauges are adequate quality. The low pressure gauge is a little bit sensitive and to adjustment, because the first major graduation is 10 psi, which is the standard setting, and it's quite tricky to get that set to within sort of reasonable limits, but it's workable. Also included is a good solid ground earth cable and clamp, and a stick welding handle rated to 400 amps, and it's substantial looking, so it does actually look like it could do 400 amps, more than adequate for this welder, which is only rated to 200 amps. The MIG handpiece is a good quality item. It's a nice fit and easy to use. In addition to that, I got some extra consumables, some welding wire, some tips, etc. I almost forgot to mention that it includes a good colour manual as well, which is written in proper English and gives some really useful information. The front panel of the welder includes a couple of LED displays and 2 adjustment knobs. The role of the displays and the knobs is determined by the position of the function selector switch. They all have a good solid feel to them and are nice and easy to use. Good ergonomics. The case has got moulded plastic ends and is made of a decent thickness of steel. Under the side cover is the usual helpful panel about settings, and in addition to that there is the wire feeder, which is a dual gear drive, so that's a good quality unit, plus buttons for gas, opening the gas valve, and wire feed, all very useful stuff. So how well does it weld? Well, the first thing I did when I unpacked it and got it all set up was run a couple of MIG weld beads on some 2.5mm plate. I just dialed in the settings on the synergic features, and this is what I came up with. Nice smooth beads, the arc was easy to control, and I was very happy with the results. So I went ahead and designed and built my welding trolley, as you do. This of course gave me a chance to test the welder properly on a variety of different metal thicknesses and different types of welds at different angles and so on, and here's the results. The main carcass of the trolley was the drawers were made out of 1.2mm steel, and this was either spot welded using drilling holes through one layer of the steel and welding through to the next, or with full seam welds. The full seam welds were completed by applying a number of tack welds at about 2.5cm spacing, and then these were connected together by full seam welds progressively to minimize distortion of the steel, and this worked very well. Here you can see the inside of the full seam weld. You can see that where the tacks are, and the full seam welds themselves have been completed without any issues of blow through, but with full penetration. It was quite easy to do, and no rework was required. Equally good results were achieved with heavier sections. So this is 35mm square tubed, 2.5mm thick, and you can see that I was easily able to achieve good clean welds with good penetration. So for the cable reel holders, the same multi-tack and fill between the tacks approach was applied, and you can see here that on the external corners and on the internal that there's been full penetration, no indication of any blow through, and no rework was required to fill any gaps. The welder was really easy to use. So the welding trolley project showed that this welder is as good as the glossy brochure says it is. It was easy to use, it provided good quality welds without any fuss or bother. The synergic settings was pretty much spot on. I should also point out that the machine allows a fully manual setting up of MIG welding as well, so you're not stuck with the synergic mode. Overall, I was really happy with the results. So the next thing I tried was some stick welding. So being a fully electronic welder, the stick welding is all DC. Now I haven't done DC welding before, so my first attempt was a complete shambles. I had huge problems with arc blow, so I rearranged things and got rid of the magnetic holders and did a bit of tweaking and had another go, and here's the result. So you can see the results here are completely different. This is using a 2mm steel with 6013 1/8 inch electrodes, and the miter weld in the corner there you can see is just dead smooth. I've left the flux on the right hand side to show that the flux left by the welding was also just dead smooth. It was once I got the arc blow sorted out, it was really good results. There's a much better results than I got on my old Buzzbox AC welder. The butt weld, I had a few issues with the arc blow when I started on the left hand side, so once I got that sorted out, you can see the middle section of the butt weld is much smoother and better than it was on the left. The characteristics of using this welder are completely different. There's no frying bacon sound, there's no rattling of transformer plates. What you do here is a hiss, like a flare burning as the weld metal is going down, and the deposition rate is much higher. But if you get the arc blow sorted out, then this welder is really good to use, much better than the old one I had. I also ran a test sample using 6013 electrode, 3/16 diameter on some heavy steel, some 5mm steel. So I was able to achieve a far higher quality weld on this new machine than I was on my old transformer welder. and I was really happy with the results. So yeah, AAA. So if you're looking for a good welder suitable for serious home workshop use or light industrial use, then I think this welder would be definitely worth looking at. The results that I've got out of it are far better than what I was able to achieve with my old transformer welder, and I'm really pleased with the results. It's going to do everything that I want it to do, and I'm certainly happy with the purchase.